right, good evening, everybody. It is December 3rd. It is a Saturday, 2022. Trust you all are doing well. It is roughly 8:53 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, it is a Saturday, so we don't have a specific topic as it relates to finance, but I think I just want to briefly touch today on cybersecurity in general. Now, we've been talking about a lot of pure play cybersecurity companies, such as Palo Alto Networks, Zscaler, CrowdStrike, Okta, and Ping Identity. But I think it's important not to overlook, I would say, one of the most obvious, but also one of the most hidden pure play cybersecurity companies. Well, not pure play cybersecurity companies, but you'll sort of understand what I mean in a minute. But that's Microsoft, right? And if we think about how Microsoft was so successful with bundling in their Microsoft Teams service to their Office 365 suite, what I think is going to happen down the line, which is already starting to happen now, is Microsoft is going to continue to and have a very, very big push in bundling pure play cybersecurity solutions into their, either Azure sales packages, which is their cloud computing platform, or the Microsoft 365 or MS 365 suite. Now, as we look at the cybersecurity market as a whole, I think it's important to understand which companies are positioned best to sort of fend off Microsoft, and even Amazon is going to be encroaching in on cybersecurity too. So I think if we look at cybersecurity from a standpoint of zero trust, from a standpoint of endpoint cybersecurity, EMITET threat protection, and IAM, which is an acronym for Identity and Access Management, I think the pure play cybersecurity companies that specify or specialize in IAM cybersecurity, which is Identity and Access Management, for example, that is Okta, ticker symbol OKTA, and then also Ping Identity, which was a former publicly traded company now taken private by Orlando Bravo's company, Thoma Bravo. I think those are going to be the biggest companies, or I should say the companies that Microsoft are most willing to disrupt. I think from the standpoint of Palo Alto Networks and Zscaler, I think they have a deeper moat. But we'll talk about that a little bit later in the stream. But now let me close my laptop. We are going to be headed down to Wall Street. So we are going to take a look at the Christmas tree outside the New York Stock Exchange. Right now, we are at the WeWork office on Canal Street. So we'll probably be down there on Wall Street in about maybe 30 minutes, 35 minutes. While we're walking there, we are also going to be highlighting a very, very unique building that is now one of my favorite buildings here in New York City, and that is called 130 William. So 130 William is an 800-foot tall residential high-rise tower located in the financial district, and the building was developed by the Lightstone Group. We'll be talking about that fantastic building. But let me put away my laptop and we'll say hello to everybody in the chat. Big day for World Cup soccer. Unfortunately, the United States national team couldn't get the job done. We did lose to the Netherlands, but it was a very, very enjoyable game. Very good World Cup. So congratulations to them on a fantastic success. But let's see who we have in the chat. I see my friend NB is here. Good to see you, NB. I see Sally. NJB is here with us as well. Mary Cruz, Connie Ruiz, Alfred British Gray, Tiffany Allen, NNB045. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. NNB045 is joining us from the one and only Canada. Good to see our neighbors from the north. Julia M. Trust your Saturday is going well. I'll give you guys one last shot of the WeWork space here. DM says hello, Tom, and everybody. Western Mass Dave. Welcome, welcome. So it's not that cold out tonight. So hopefully, I think the only thing we're going to need to battle with is the wind. Okay, we are downstairs. Let me zip up my jacket. I think it's going to be freezing out there. Let's see. I see Smee Media. Good to see you. Welcome, Smee Media. Dr. Longus. This is Hey Tom and team. I'm seeing Mr. Wonderful from Australia. So Australia played today, right, against Lionel Messi's Argentina. That was a really, really good game. But here we are. If you look all the way in the distance, you're looking northbound. You can see the beautiful Chrysler building right about here. That little speck of a building is Chrysler. Al Baker, thank you for joining us tonight on a Saturday night. Yeah, so big day for World Cup soccer. Now, the U.S. unfortunately lost. We did lose to the Netherlands, but I thought it was a pretty good game. But I will say, Team USA definitely wasn't the better team, right? The Netherlands just looked super, super silky smooth and polished the entire game. But I think there's a lot to be proud of, right? Soccer is not our sport here in the United States. So to make it to the round of 16, score a couple goals, win a game, I don't know. I'm satisfied. What about you guys? Anybody get a chance to watch Argentina play today? Vinny Castellano, what's up, my friend? Good to see you, Vinny. Now, one of the things that's interesting as we get south of Canal Street, you'll notice a lot of these impromptu art galleries. So a lot of these empty spaces are sort of like little pop-up art shops. Pretty nice. Yeah, GGMYC says, I'm excited to see the Netherlands versus Argentina now. It's going to be fantastic. Now, the game that I'm most excited for is the Korean national team, and I also want to see Japan play again. So both Korea and Japan are moving on. So that's going to be awesome sight to see. Another thing I want to point out here, you'll notice the difference in the architecture between Midtown Manhattan and Soho, south of Canal Street. A lot of the olden style architecture with the beautiful fire escapes. These are the loft style apartments, and the thing I like about that is the ceilings are extremely high. Very tall ceilings. Yeah, Adrian says the match between Argentina and Australia was very interesting. It was a good match. It was a good game. Australia's goal was actually pretty good too. I mean, it took a deflection, but I mean, they played hard. Soccer I don't think is Australia's thing either, right? Isn't the expertise of the Australians is rugby. I think that's their main thing. But they played good. It was a good game. Western Mass Dave says, dig those fire escapes. Good to see you. DA says, hey Tom, nice goal from Messi. Fantastic goal from Messi. Now, did anybody notice this? So this is something I noticed about this World Cup. And I think the favorites, I should say, in terms of players, right? The favorites in terms of the players this World Cup is obviously all eyes on Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. I think that's pretty obvious, right? Arguably the two greatest soccer players to ever do it. Football players, depending on where you are in the world. And I believe this is going to be the last World Cup for both of them. So it's interesting to see them both play, but I think by far, Messi is having a much better World Cup. It just seems he's super sharp, and he's putting in a lot of effort. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo, even though he's one of the best to ever do it, it was just strange watching some of the games. He was lazy getting back. He was offsides a lot. I don't know. It just seems like he obviously is not in his prime, but still fun to watch. Yeah, Vinny Castellano says Messi is number one. Yeah, I mean, after all those years, heading close to retirement and still being able to be a key player in a World Cup, that's awesome. Mike C, good to see you. Austin City Limits. DA says, yeah, it's the last World Cup for both of them, it looks like. I don't know how I'm going to react to that in 2024. A World Cup without Messi and Ronaldo. That's going to be weird. It's going to be really weird. Now it is going to be extremely windy out tonight. This morning, as I was commuting into the city, it was some of the worst winds I've ever seen. You can notice all the garbage and trash blowing around. I think the wind gusts tonight are going to be like 25 to 30 miles an hour. So just keep in mind if the audio is not too good. Sally is here. Good to see you. Chad's is Black Rock in trouble. I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, I think just the overall system, right, is very illiquid. So there's a good possibility that we could be coming up with, or coming into a liquidity crisis, a liquidity event. Prince Ice is here. So good evening, Tom, and stay warm. Good to see you, Prince Ice. Welcome. Always appreciate you being here. Kathy Lyons, good to see you. Mr. Wonderful says Australia had a chance to equalize near the end. They did. Look, the Australians played a good World Cup too. You know, soccer is not their thing. All right, so now we are on the corner of Broadway and Worth Street. We are going to be heading down to Wall Street to see the New York Stock Exchange. You will see Federal Hall. And I want to show you guys the Christmas tree outside the New York Stock Exchange. Now, we've seen it once before, but it wasn't all lit up. And I think it's going to be lit up tonight. And if it's anything like it was last year, I actually think it looks a little bit nicer than the one at Rockefeller Center. So we'll do a little bit of a comparison on Saturday. Yeah, Molly Durant says it looks cold. It's not that it's super cold, it's that it's super windy tonight. Really, really windy. Chan says, hey Tom, how was your day? Day was pretty good. I took it easy. I took today off pretty much. Spent the day reading, hanging out. I know Nouveau says soccer isn't Canada's thing either. We're happy just to even participate. Yeah, I was quite pleased that Canada made it to the World Cup. So which was good. This is Thomas Street, one of the greatest streets in New York, right here. Sparks Carnival's question, has everyone finished their holiday shopping? Or are people still waiting for deals? I'm honestly thinking of getting my boss wine. I didn't even start, man. That's a good point. I gotta do that. So usually what I do every year, to my main clients, right, and a lot of new ones too, I'll send gift baskets. I'll send gift baskets, so I usually do that. But actually, in my professional life, I really don't buy much Christmas presents, more actually Hanukkah presents. So I order off of kosherline.com. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with that, because a lot of my customers in the home healthcare industry are Jewish, so I want to make sure we get kosher gifts. So I order from there all the time, every year, kosherline.com. They have some good gift baskets, some good stuff, but I didn't even start yet, which reminds me I have to get going on that. Mike C says we're going to low key in our family, $20 nominal gifts. Respect it. Look at all the beautiful scaffolding we have here. I think this is probably one of the most ugly scaffolding setups we got. Steph UH, good to see you. Matthew M says always respect a good gift basket. Yeah, and it's easy too, right? It's an easy thing. You know, it's gonna get delivered. It's nice. You can make a custom card. It's good. Prince Ice says Korea did well. Going to the tournament with some luck kicking in. Yeah, I mean, I think that was the most entertaining game of the World Cup so far. Would you guys agree? Korea, Portugal. Although the Japan game was up there. The Japan game was up there too. I think those were the the two most exciting teams to watch so far. They may not be the best teams, but they work the hardest, right? At least from what I've noticed. Ghana as well is always very entertaining to watch. Sunshine After Rain is here, says hello Tom and chat, welcome. To be a GMO, good to see you. Austin City Limits, Sanjib is here, says hey Tom, how are you? Doing very well, hope the same for you. Greg Schultz is maybe making a car purchase, wow. Maybe I'll wait until the car market tanks a little bit. So Greg, are you talking about new vehicles or used? Because one of the things that was actually encouraging about the inflation reports that I think we could all agree on is the price of used vehicles are actually coming down quite substantially. Now, I got to give you guys a recommendation. If you want to keep tabs on the used car market, in terms of prices and things like that, there's a really good follow on Twitter. I think his Twitter handle may be the used car guy or the car guy, I forget, or the dealer guy, I forget. But I've retweeted a lot of his tweets. And I think he owns maybe about 6 or 7 dealerships. And he gives a lot of good insights on what's going on in the market, specific makes and models of vehicles that are either in high supply, high demand, and which ones prices are falling quite substantially. Now, supposedly used Teslas right now are falling in price quite aggressively. Mike C says, I think I bought my last new car used vehicles from here on out. Yeah, I think, well, depending on what you are using the car for, right? If it's for business or something like that, I can understand why people will buy new vehicles, but you know, they're depreciating assets. You know, if you buy a new car, once you drive it off the lot, it automatically depreciates, right? So, you know, maybe if you can buy something used with one owner, I think you're gonna get a little bit better bang for your buck, better ROI. Hey, Ed Potke is here, says, hey Tom, how's it going? It's going very well. Good to see you, Ed. Ed is joining us from Corning, New York. Greg Schultz is replacing a leased vehicle and probably getting a used one. Copy that. So I have a question for you guys. I've heard some horror stories. Now, this may be anecdotal in nature. Ooh, check out this view. Now, this is one of my favorite buildings. So not this one, but this one right here. I forget the exact address, but it's on Spruce Street. And during the day, you can really see it a little bit better, but it has amazing, amazing architectural design in the outside. And I think if anybody's familiar with the Roots group, Questlove, I think arguably one of the most talented drummers alive today. I think that's his building. I think he has a unit there. Really, really nice building, by the way. Beautiful views of both the Manhattan Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge. Anyway, so I've heard some horror stories as it relates to people leasing cars, trucks, SUVs, and whatnot, and then going to return them. And when you return the lease, supposedly the dealer nicks you for every little thing, right? And the totals could add up to like an astronomical amount. Anybody have to deal with that, right? Returning a leased vehicle, and when you return it, they charge you for every little thing, and it comes out to this astronomical amount. Or maybe that's just an anecdote. Yeah, Jeff W says he's a legend. He's fantastic. So I think the Roots group is the Tonight Show band, correct? With Jimmy Fallon? Yeah, that's right. That's the band for the Tonight Show. The Roots group. Tiffany Allen, good to see you. Welcome, Tiffany. Happy Saturday. Steph UH. Michael Joseph says it's always been that way with leases. Well, that's why I would always be very, very nervous about leasing a vehicle in New York, right? Or any major city. it's automatically going to get banged up here, like 100%. You know, Dr. Murray Hill, MD, I think you're right. Hold on, let me get another shot of it. I think it's behind this building. But yeah, I think you're correct. 8 Spruce Street. It's a really, really unique design. It's right outside Pace University down there. And it has amazing sweeping views of Brooklyn, New York, the 2 major bridges. It's fantastic. Hey, the LT Prods saw Tesla at a public car auction site, which is a first. Guess that's a sign of the market slowing down. Yeah, the LT Prod, I really wish I could remember this guy's Twitter handle, but I think it is called the used car guy or the dealership guy. You gotta follow him on Twitter, really good stuff. Vesey Street. One of my favorite buildings in all of New York City right here. This is One World Trade Center. Now, we always see this building from afar on the live streams. Very seldom do we actually come down to Lower Manhattan anymore. So it's kind of nice to be here. Hey, Fabio is here. Says, hey, Tom, do you know Thomas Sowell and Milton Friedman? Yes, I do. Really like them, current ministers of the economy of Brazil. Was a classmate of Thomas and a student of Milton Friedman. Yeah, Milton Friedman's great. I would highly, highly suggest reading his books. Now, Milton Friedman is what you call, or what I would define as, a pure capitalist, right? Pure capitalist. So he would be in opposition. Oh, it looks like we've got the FDNY coming down here. So he would be in opposition of, Keynesian economics. However, I would say this. I have in my library The General Theory by John Maynard Keynes. That's a great book. It's a great read. And I think if you are going to participate in capitalism, which is pretty much the modern American economy, there's definitely distortions in that with Keynesian economics, and I think it's important to understand it and learn it. So The General Theory is a fantastic book. Even though you may not agree with everything that's in there, I think you got to read it. I think you have to have it in your library. All right, one more shot of One World Trade Center just because it's so fantastic. Hey, Brian Forrest is here. Good to see you, Brian. Happy Saturday to you. One World Trade is looking fantastic tonight. What do you guys think? 10 out of 10? Leo is here. Says hello from Brazil. Good to see you, Leo. Matthew M is here. Lemonade. Good to see you. Israel Ariel says, what's up, man? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Ooh, Vinny says, Tom, there's a good barbecue restaurant on Vesey Street. Blue Smoke by Danny Mayer. I'm going to have to check that out. Never heard of it. I'll check it out. Let me take you guys to the Oculus, because we're never down here, right? I think the only reason why we're down here tonight is just because it's the weekend. Now, this is the brand new Fulton Center, or Fulton train station. I remember when they just completed this, just built this, but it's really, really nice in there. It almost looks like a spaceship. Dr. Longus says, yes, if you love Milton Friedman, you'll also love Thomas Sowell as well. There's a really good video on YouTube. I'm trying to remember the exact title for you guys, but I would type this in, and it's probably going to take you to the video. I don't know the exact title, but it's Milton Friedman on greed. So Milton Friedman on greed. I think you're going to enjoy that video a lot. So obviously we're headed to Wall Street tonight, but let's take a quick pit stop. I want to show you guys around the Oculus, right at One World Trade Center, because we're never down here. I think the last time we were walking around this particular area was September 11th. We came down here for 9/11, which they had a beautiful memorial service. I always like coming down here during that time. They always make a really, really nice memorial service at Ground Zero here. Yeah, Greg Schultz is Tom Lovewarm, World Trade Center. Hope to visit it and Ground Zero someday. You know, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody. I think they closed down the 9/11 Memorial Museum. Is that correct? I'm not sure if Photos from Around New York is here. Maybe he would know, but I think it may be. I think it may have went out of business, if that's even possible. But I think it is. I don't think there's any 9/11 Memorial Museum anymore, for that matter. So here it is, everybody. You can see the Oculus. It's a beautiful piece of design. Now, I hear it's supposed to resemble a dove. Man, it's really, really windy. Yeah, Michael Joseph says Keynes and Friedman, always interesting debate. Yeah, I think you need to have both books, right? So I think if we can sort of translate that, for lack of a better term here, because my brain is a little bit shot for the weekend, I would say Milton Friedman is more along the lines of a Peter Schiff, so to speak, in his economic theory. You know, pretty much pure capitalism, more laissez-faire, not a lot of central bank intervention. And Keynes is sort of what we have now with sort of modern monetary theory, central banking, running deficits, things like that. Well, I think this is going to be a really good, I think this is going to come out really nice. Here, check this out. Dr. Murray Hill, MD, says, Tom, I think the 9/11 Memorial tribute closed. I don't think it was related to the official memorial. I think you're right. I think you're right. Now, should I take you guys in here? I think I may, you know, because we haven't been down here in a while. I don't think a lot of people have seen it, so we will. But after we go here, speaking of Peter Schiff, I want to take you guys through some very interesting Wall Street history over here. This is Zuccotti Park. You see where all of the trees are lit up? I have a interesting recommendation for all of you. This was where the Occupy Wall Street protests really took off. Wow, look at this. Have I ever taken you guys in here on the stream? Look at how immense and how vast the Oculus is. Now, from the outside, it may not look like it's that big of a place, but from the inside, it is absolutely massive, because I think it goes about 3 stories down. I'll try to take you guys through as much as I can before the internet goes out. Hey, Young Nation 92, good to see you. Welcome. Ross the Black is here. Good to see you. Always a pleasure. Hopefully, you're having a good weekend. Here, I'll try to stick the camera as far over as I can, so you guys can see just how low it goes. Hopefully you guys got a good shot of that. I'll take you guys down. We'll take a little walk. Obviously today is Saturday, so we don't have a specific topic as it relates to finance. We're just going to kind of hang out. But I did want to bring everybody's attention to something, because obviously last week we had a lot of pure play cybersecurity companies reporting earnings, right? We heard from CrowdStrike, ticker symbol CRWG or D. Then we heard from Okta, ticker symbol OKTA. And then lastly, we heard from Zscaler, ticker symbol ZS. And we always talk about the main pure play cybersecurity companies. Wow, look at the view from here. That's really nice. If at any time the internet goes out, just let me know in the chat. Now, every time we talk about cybersecurity, we always talk about my big three, right? I always call them my big three, which is Palo Alto Networks, Zscaler, and CrowdStrike. But if you really think about sort of like a sleeper cybersecurity company, it's actually Microsoft. A lot of their revenues is actually dedicated towards pure play cybersecurity products. Now, the reason why Microsoft is one to watch, and their go-to-market strategy is actually pretty clever and brilliant. They're sort of taking the same approach as they did with their Microsoft Teams collaboration platform that competes with the likes of Slack, right? And Slack is now acquired by Salesforce. And what they do is they bundle their products in with their traditional, I would say, what's the word I'm looking for? I would say headline software applications, right? Microsoft 365, you get all the suite, you get Microsoft Exchange, and then they bundle in Teams for free, right? So what I think they're gonna start doing, and what they have already started doing, is in their more premium software licenses for 365, MS365, they're going to start to offer pure play cybersecurity products. And they're already doing that. And I think that's going to cut a ton or dig into a lot of the market share of some identity and access management companies specifically, or IAM. And I think that's probably why we've been seeing the likes of Palo Alto Networks outperform IAM providers like Okta and Ping Identity, which is actually now taken private by Orlando Bravo's private equity firm, which is Thoma Bravo. But we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. It looks like they set up a winter village almost down here. Looks really nice. Dusty Cole here, welcome. Good to see you, Dusty. My friend Kevin Ramsey is here. Says, good evening, Tom from Cincy, welcome. Mike C says, I held Microsoft for over a decade and it went nowhere. As soon as I finally gave up and sold, it went 10x. Yeah, that's usually how a lot of investing works sometimes. I've had my fair share of that experience, Mike. Don't worry. You know, Mike C, I had that exact experience with Starbucks, that exact experience. That was actually one of my first real big positions that I've ever had, was in Starbucks, ticker symbol SBUX. And the moment I sold it, it went on a rocket ride to all-time record highs. That was way back in the day. Here we have the Apple store here. You know, I'll show you guys, since it's Saturday, we're sort of hanging out. Here, maybe this window is a little bit better. These are the new M1 chip iMacs. I have one. It's because my upgrade cycle is usually every 5 years. So I had an old iMac, and the difference is just stunning on these. These are lightning fast. Anybody else have, or is running their desktop as one of the M1 chip iMacs? Oh, Ross the Black, no way. Says, ouch, that happened to me with BTC back in the day. Sold at 3,000 and it ran to 19. Yeah, I mean, we all have that happen in our investing careers. I definitely have a lot of mishaps too. Michelle McGraw, welcome. Welcome to One World Trade Center, the Oculus. So this doubles as a train station, by the way. So for those of you who don't know, I believe you could take the A train right from here, maybe the 2, 3, the J, and the Z as well. But I think you may have to go all the way over here for that. But on the other side, which I will take you to, is the PATH train, which will actually take you to New Jersey, right over here. But it also doubles as a mall. Very modern, very unique, very cool place. It almost doesn't even look like you're in the United States. Really, really impressed with this station here. DAO VID says my upgrade cycle is 10 years. So are you early in that cycle or are you late in that cycle? Now, the reason why I would say mine is every 5 years is because I utilize Apple's new recycling program where they give you a substantial discount on the new hardware if you trade yours in. Yeah, Mars Tech, it looks kind of European, right? I was gonna say it looks a little bit like the modern train stations maybe in Korea. Sparks Carnival says, I'm considering expanding my position in Berkshire Hathaway. Buffett loves dividend stocks, says Sparks Carnival. Tress Boston says, Tom, I had a MacBook Pro and upgraded to the new MacBook Air. Night and day difference. So the new MacBook Air, I think, has the M2 chip in it, right? All right, now that we're on the topic of Macs, I have a question for all of you, specifically those of you who are heavy Microsoft Excel users. So I think I told you guys, I originally had a ThinkPad. Oh, you know what? This is that very upscale, ritzy, how come I'm blanking today? This is a mattress store, right? Casper. Now, they have another competitor, and I think this is what I use to furnish my house, but their competitor. It's actually very cheap. I think I got 3 mattresses for under $3,000. I'm just forgetting the name. But I used to have a ThinkPad, right? And I obviously work a lot in Microsoft Excel. So with the new MacBook Air, obviously it can run Microsoft Excel, but it's a little bit different with the functions and the shortcuts. Would it be possible? Nectar, you're right. Ross to Black, yes, thank you so much. Nectar is the competitor of this. And I think they're actually substantially cheaper and the quality's pretty good. I mean, I've never had any of my Airbnb guests complain, at least not yet. But could I solve that shortcut problem for Microsoft Excel if I just buy a new keyboard or an external keyboard? I know Mike C says Microsoft Excel on Mac is awful. Yeah, so is that just... Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that sucks. But I'm wondering if I could just get an external keyboard and plug in an external keyboard that is similar to, you know, the keyboard I had on my ThinkPad, maybe it would fix the problem. Mimi says, Tom, I used to use Excel on a Mac, but now back to HP laptop. Yeah, a lot of the shortcuts are different, a lot different. So, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Oh, Taxi Cab says, yes, you can. You could remap the keys. Ben Robinson is here. Thank you, Ben. Says, Apple Silicon makes a huge difference to overnight performance. It's day and night. Agreed. Young Nation 92 says, I want the orange Mac, but for some reason it's more expensive than the rest. Is that true? I didn't know they make it more expensive or less expensive based upon the color. Who knows? Austin City Limits, good to see you. All right, I'll give you guys one more shot of the floor here, and then we are going to head down to Wall Street. Hey, Quinn is here. Oh, okay, so that is the architect who worked on this. Very nice. Your neighbor, thank you for being here. Yeah, Paul Mendy says buy another keyboard. I think if I get into a keyboard, it'll fix all those issues, and I can just go back to... Because right now on a Mac, you have to use the arrow keys to switch between, you know, the lives. You have to use the, what's it called? The arrow keys to shift between and back and forth the files, or the cells, I should say. And if you're building models, it's definitely not ideal for that. Hey, Alex says, hey, second time viewer. I hope everybody is doing well. And thank you for the great sights. I've never been in New York City, so this video is a treat. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Hope your Saturday is going well. Come fry with me. This is beautiful. I'm watching from the UK. Can't wait to visit one day. Thanks so much. Quinn says, hey, Tom in chat. Good to see you, Quinn. Let me put my hood back up because it is going to be freezing here. And windy, I should say. All right. Here we are in the outside world. Hey, Miss Brown Eyes, thank you for joining. Good to see you. So this is the Oculus in Lower Manhattan. If we stand a little bit further back, you'll see the One World Trade Center. Mimi says, I don't buy Lenovo products though for security concerns. Do the research. Yeah, so I got mine. My client was providing me one. And it was really cumbersome because it would only work when it was plugged in. It had massive battery issues. So I had to get another laptop. And that is when I ran into the Microsoft Excel on a Mac issue. But anyway. So before we went into the Oculus, we were talking about very famous economist Milton Friedman. We were also talking about John Maynard Keynes' The General Theory. It's a very good book. I think you should get it and learn it. So you can really learn both styles and I would say theories of economics. Now, we also talked about Peter Schiff, which is the CEO and founder of Euro Pacific Capital and Euro Pacific Bank. And there's a very, very famous video, sort of like a mini documentary series, at this park right here. It's called Zuccotti Park. And this is where the major Occupy Wall Street protests were happening. It all started right here in this park. And this was after the 2008 financial crisis that was sparked by the demise and the decline of Lehman Brothers, which obviously went bankrupt, went out of business, and then their office space right there on Broadway, just north of Times Square, was taken over by Barclays, the British investment bank. Now, for a really good lesson on sort of what happened during the Great Financial Crisis, what caused it, what were the specific catalysts, and what could have been done different to prevent the financial crisis of 2008. I'm going to recommend a really good video for you all, and it is called I Am the 1% by Peter Schiff. Now, it's on YouTube under the channel Reason TV. It is a short mini documentary series where Peter Schiff, the CEO of Euro Pacific Capital, Euro Pacific Bank, stands in this park right here that we're about to walk through and interviews a lot of the Occupy Wall Street protesters and talks to them about their concerns about what happened during the financial crisis. And they talk about the Federal Reserve, they talk about central banking, and they talk about something that's called a moral hazard that was thrown around a lot during the Great Financial Crisis. Hey, R2K 2007 says you should grab an Irish coffee at O'Hara's. It's just around the corner in the next block. Yeah, maybe we will grab a cup of coffee soon, my friend. But R2K 2007, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, Michelle McGraw says the lights look beautiful on all the trees. I kind of like the classic white a little bit better, don't you? Aside from all like the multicolor. What do you think? Do you guys like multicolor lights better or these sort of crispy white lights? I think it's a little bit better here. Hey, Patrick, New York, what's up? Good to see you. Andre Almar is the Mac M1 processors are blazing fast and they do not overheat like the Intel ones. Yeah, they are extreme, dude. They're like night and day. Now, the only thing I would say on the new MacBook Airs is I don't think the cooling system and they don't have fans, so you won't hear a lot of the, whenever your computer gets hot, you'll start to hear the fans kick in for the cooling. They don't have that. So if you're doing any like video editing, or really anything super intensive like that, it does get kind of hot. But I think that's why it's able to be so thin, is because they removed the fan system out of there. Okay, so Andre Almar says the Pro line has fans, only the Air line doesn't. Yeah, I mean, if you're just doing basic stuff, like browsing the web or maybe typing some documents, it should be fine. But if you are, editing stuff in like Final Cut Pro, it's gonna get really, really hot. Hey, Lemonades, can you imagine the multicolored lights on those trees? Pure chaos. Yeah, I think it just looks more professional here. Western Mass Dave says this is a large area to decorate, so white is the best. I agree. Hey, Kevin Ramsey, thank you so much for your very kind and generous $20 donation. This is Dinner on Me. Thank you for the stream. Kevin Ramsey, thank you so much for the support and joining us here on the stream. And happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Hopefully you have a fantastic holiday season, and thank you for being here. I appreciate it very much. Andre Almar says if you're editing videos, you should get the MacBook Pro. I agree with that. Yeah, the only downside that I have with the Mac, because I do like Apple products better, right? Obviously, right now we're streaming live on an iPhone 13 mini. And, I got to tell you guys a quick story about Pine Street. And I like the user interface. The UI is a little bit better with Mac and iOS, but the Excel thing is killing me because I can't learn all new shortcuts. I just can't, I don't have time. All right, way back in the day, I saw like one of the worst fights ever right here. And I thought I was gonna have to go to court and like be a witness or something like that. But thank God I didn't have to, because if you look right here, you'll see a little camera outside of the Citibank. Unfortunately, there was a food delivery bicycle guy that was making a turn here, and a car comes barreling through the red light and literally obliterates the guy. And I was standing right there. And instead of the driver coming out of the car to like console the guy and say, hey, are you okay? He comes out with one of those tire irons. Now, maybe I'm explaining it wrong. I'm not a mechanic, but imagine, how am I going to explain this? You know how when you change a tire, right? I'm assuming everybody's changed a tire here. You have those tools. One bar goes like this, the other bar goes like that, right? So you can, like a tire wrench, is that what it's called? And he starts attacking the guy with the tire iron and beating the guy. And we all start to jump in to try to help the guy, and we finally get the tire thing, fixer thing away from him. And the cops arrive right on the spot. There's a whole big scene. They arrested both people. And I think they got the video from there. I think it actually made the news. This was, I'm trying to think when this was. Well, I was working down here at 82 Wall Street, so this must have been in 2015. But yeah, wild day there. This is one of the most famous churches in the city. This is Trinity Church. It's absolutely beautiful inside. I'm not sure if anybody's ever been here or visited inside Trinity Church. It's really, really beautiful. You could see the pane glass windows right here. And this is right on the corner of Wall Street. So if you go to Wall Street and walk all the way to the end, opposite of Water Street, you'll arrive right here. Oh, it's a lug wrench, it says Austin City Limits. Yeah, the LT Prods is nice windows, beautiful windows here. And it's decorated quite nice too for the holiday. But here we are, my friends, team, we made it. This is Wall Street. And if we walk directly down here, we will hit into the very famous New York Stock Exchange. And if we continue further, we will hit into the old Deutsche Bank, which is now abandoned. Deutsche Bank has migrated uptown to 59th Street, Columbus Circle, in the former Time Warner Center. This is on the corner of Broadway and Wall. Now, a lot of non-New Yorkers, when they think of the Wall Street Bull, they think it's actually on Wall Street, but that's actually not true. It's actually on Broadway. So if you continue to walk all the way down Broadway to Bowling Green, you'll hit right into the Mighty Bull, where the Fearless Girl statue was originally put in place. But they had to move her. They had to remove the Fearless Girl and actually relocate her outside of the New York Stock Exchange. I think because there was way too many tourists trying to take photos and things like that. And if you're familiar with where the Wall Street Bull is located, it's right in the middle of a major intersection and there's no sidewalks. But I'll show you guys there in a minute. Now, the good news is all the scaffolding is now taken down outside the New York Stock Exchange. If you remember from our live streams in the past, this all used to be covered in scaffolding. But the New York Stock Exchange is looking fantastic. I think they remodeled the entire outside and it looks really good. Ket's 42 says, I felt like there were more homeless in San Diego, California when I went there. This is Ket's 42. Mimi says, I love San Diego. I've never been, but I would be open to go. I really want to take a trip out to California. So, all right, quick story about California since it's the weekend. The streams tend to take a mind of their own on the weekends. Now, back when I played soccer in high school and then throughout college, well, in high school, I would have some colleges reach out to me. There was a college in California called Occidental College. I think President Barack Obama went there for a short time, but they wanted me to play soccer there. But since they're a Division III institution, there's no scholarships. And when I looked at the price tag, I was like, oh my God. I think it was something like $45,000 a year. Something crazy like that. But yeah, the school was Occidental College, I think. This is the very famous Federal Hall right on the corner of Nassau Street. Unfortunately, again, you have all the scaffolding here, which will be up for 10 years. Yes, that is right, 10 years. All right, everybody, so as we pan over to the right, you're going to see my favorite tree in the entire New York City, right here on Wall Street. I actually think it looks a little bit better than the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. What do you guys think? I think this is a pretty good shot right here, because you see the very famous Wall Street sign, Broad Street sign. I told you guys, it's better. It looks better. It just looks more full, and it looks, and again, I'm biased. I mean, the channel is called Walks on Wall Street, but I think it looks fantastic. Doesn't it look good? What do you guys think? All right, we're gonna give it a rating. This is the first time I'm seeing it too. Let me get the best shot of it so we can give it an appropriate rating in the chat. All right, we're gonna do the rating based upon this view, because you have the New York Stock Exchange. I think this is a solid 10 out of 10. Thoughts there? I know. Michelle McGraw says it's better this year than last year, isn't it? I think you're right, Michelle. And it's a real tree too. I mean, the Rockefeller Center one is obviously bigger, right? But I think when a tree gets too big, it's not as full. And the tree down here on Wall Street, it's almost like there's no gaps in it. Does everybody know what I'm talking about? It's trimmed perfectly. There's no gaps in it. It is very, very full. All right, let's walk a little bit closer to give you guys a better view. And for all of our Jewish listeners and viewers, if you look directly under the Wall Street tree here, they also have the menorah for Hanukkah, which they do light. So they have lighting ceremonies here. You know, they also have another one as the holiday season progresses. Excuse me. As the holiday season progresses, I'll take you guys right outside of the Plaza Hotel. I think that is one of the largest Hanukkah celebrations right there. They light the menorah every night in between the Plaza Hotel and the Apple Store. So 59th Street, Central Park South, and 5th Avenue. That's a really nice photo right there. Yeah, Kel Sonics says, love how the lights twinkle. All right, I got to get you guys a little bit closer, because if you notice the larger, I would call them what, ornaments? You'll notice that they are decaled with the NYSE. So they'll actually have the New York Stock Exchange logos on the ornaments. I'll try to give you guys a look. Let me know if you could see it on the stream. It may be a little bit too bright, but if you look closely, they're all branded NYSE. Somebody says, what's up with the scaffolding on Federal Hall for 10 years? Yeah, so I'll tell you a quick story about it. I'll get out of the way of this photo here. So when I used to work down here, I actually used to have lunch. Ooh, it's a beautiful dog. I actually used to have lunch on the stairs here. Now, you obviously can't see the stairs, but when the scaffolding is removed, the stairs here are actually very famous. A lot of people who worked in Lower Manhattan in the financial district would sit on the steps, take a look at the New York Stock Exchange. But I think the New York City Building Department, I'm not sure if that's the exact name, did a site survey here, did an inspection, and it's really in disrepair. And it was actually, I guess, very dangerous. And since it is a very old building, it's a historical monument here in New York, they have to have very specific set of people and engineers do the restoration. And from what I've read in the Wall Street Journal and Reuters articles, it's going to take 10 years, which is a little bit of a bummer. But you could still see the very famous George Washington statue perfectly here. Yeah, so R2K 2007 says the marble was crumbling. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because when I would sit up there, it looked fine, but again, I'm not an engineer. But it's a good thing it's getting restored. Now, here's the main entrance to the New York Stock Exchange. Now, the bad news is after 9/11, right, after the horrible terrorist attacks, September 11th, they actually closed the New York Stock Exchange to tourists. I think at one point, you were actually able to schedule a tour and walk the floor. Unfortunately, you're no longer able to do that, which is a little bit of a bummer, but I definitely understand. And I'll give you guys one more shot of the tree here. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and hit the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams about 5 days a week between New York City and Miami. We go live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Hey, Robert is here. What's up, Robert? Good to see you. So after this, I'm going to take you guys past the old Deutsche Bank, which is the German investment bank. Now, we had a couple mentions earlier in the chat about possible liquidity issues and liquidity events. So we'll talk about Credit Suisse a little bit. Hey, Teresa Diaz, thank you so much for the $2 donation. It says, thank you, new subscribers, 25,500 people. Wow. That's insane. Well, thank you all for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. You can see all the tickers. GM, GS for Goldman Sachs. HD for Home Depot. HSBC for HSBC. IBM, ticker symbol IBM. IBM has about a 4.5% dividend yield. Marius, this time I visited the stock exchange in the 70s as part of a high school field trip. Yeah, it's unfortunate because, I mean, I would love to, two dogs, amazing dogs here, two of them. I would love to take a look at it on the inside, but unfortunately, it is only open to employees. Yeah, Tuck, isn't it a fantastic tree? Now, you guys know I personally like this tree better than the one at Rockefeller Center. All right, we'll give you one more shot of it as we peek across here. Now, if you guys remember from the holidays last year, we actually got a better view of the tree from the top of the Federal Hall stairs. And this is actually where George Washington was inaugurated, but obviously the, what do you call it? It's in restoration for 10 years. Now, I've said this before, but since we're outside of the New York Stock Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange really isn't what it used to be, right? So a lot of the trading activity now on Wall Street is programmatic and algorithmic, electronic trading. So there's really not a lot of trading that goes on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. A lot of these settlements and trades actually settle in New Jersey across the river. And as we've said before, since the introduction of electronic and algorithmic trading, a lot of the traditional investment banks and broker dealers actually migrated uptown. So in my view, in my opinion, I actually consider the Wall Street of New York to be on Park Avenue. So I would say anything north of Grand Central Terminal, that's where a lot of the hedge funds are, the banks. If you notice, obviously the old Lehman Brothers building, which is now the Barclays Investment Bank, which is a British bank. It's north of Times Square. Morgan Stanley is right in Times Square. You have the BNP Paribas, which is the French bank, where a helicopter actually crash landed on the top about a couple years ago. Then you have UBS and a lot of other asset managers like Neuberger Berman and the like. So the only, I would say, pure play investment bank, I guess you could call it a bulge bracket bank, but there is a joke on Wall Street that Deutsche Bank is not a big bank. But for the sake of this stream, we'll just say it is. Deutsche Bank used to be right here, but now even Deutsche Bank has closed up shop here on Wall Street and migrated uptown. And you guys know where it is. It's 59th Street, Columbus Circle, formerly the Time Warner building. That is also where the Mandarin Oriental Hotel is, in the North Tower of the Deutsche Bank building. I want to point this out as well. So we are outside of the Cipriani, which is the very ritzy and fancy restaurant slash club slash hall, I guess whatever you want to call it. If we think back to about 30 minutes ago, what we were talking about on the live stream, we were walking past Zuccotti Park, which was the official start of the Occupy Wall Street protests. And I recommended that video by Peter Schiff. He partnered with Reason TV. Now, Peter Schiff is the CEO and founder of Euro Pacific Capital, Euro Pacific Bank. And he partnered up with Reason TV to do a mini documentary series interviewing the Occupy Wall Street protesters at Zuccotti Park. And one of my favorite clips during the Great Financial Crisis was right here. And I'm going to try to find it for you guys. I haven't seen it in a while. But it was when the Occupy Wall Street protesters were turning the corner right here at Trinity Church, walking all the way down Broad Street past the Cipriani. And I guess there was a big banking financial event, and you saw all of the bigwigs laughing and smirking as the Occupy Wall Street protesters were marching down here outside of Deutsche Bank. I'm going to try to get that footage. It was, I think that footage is in some major motion pictures and films about the financial crisis. But if you have time, maybe an hour or two this weekend, look up the video "I Am the 1% by Peter Schiff. I think it'll give you a good lesson on the history of the Great Financial Crisis, what caused it, what could have been prevented, and it'll give you a pretty good masterclass on central banking, monetary policy, unconventional monetary policy from the Federal Reserve and global central banks. But here we have it, 60 Wall Street. I used to come by here every day, and now it is vacant. This is the Deutsche Bank, the German bulge bracket bank. And I think this entire building is absolutely vacant now. So if we remember back to our streams where we were talking about potential solutions for the housing crisis and the rental crisis here in the city, I think the city should partner up with a lot of local developers and maybe convert a lot of this office space into more residential. Yeah, it's still, I think they just scraped off the Deutsche Bank logos. You can see it right here. Hey, Roman is here. Says hello, everybody new to the channel. Thank you for joining. Good to see you, Roman. R2K 2007 says, wow, it'll probably be converted into apartments. I hope so. I really hope so. I'll try to give you guys a look into the lobby here. You may be right. They may be doing a gut renovation of the lobby and completely turning this into luxury apartments. That's what they did with 95 Wall Street, which I think used to be Citigroup back in the day. But you can see how they chiseled off the Deutsche Bank logo here at 60 Wall. Yeah, OI says $2,200 for a studio. My gosh. Hey, Robin Joseph says New Yorkers are the rudest people in the country. Hey, Robin, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And hopefully you enjoyed your Saturday so far, and I really, really appreciate you being here. Chan says, what are the most important conditions to live easily in a town for you? I don't know. I'm not really too picky. This is the atrium here. Now, unfortunately, it is closed, but I actually used to get off the train right here. So this is where the 2 train comes in, and you could go into the Deutsche Bank this way. This used to be a Starbucks coffee in here. And this is just an open space where you could sort of hang out. It's kind of nice. Hey, Fun Feeds, good to see you. Yeah, Alex is, that looks like a fantastic architectural building. You know what? I forgot. I think I could still show you guys. We may have time. I wanted to showcase a very, very unique building. It's one of my favorite buildings. It really caught my eye. Now, I'll give you the address. It is 130 William. 130 William. It is an apartment building, but if you go on Google and you look at some pictures or maybe even look at some of the apartments, it's a really, really unique building. Check out all the amenities. It has a really interesting saltwater pool. But the thing I like about it most is how they cut out the windows. So every single window in the building is sort of like this crescent, sort of like oval style window. It's really cool. Maybe we'll have some time to check it out tonight. Young Nation 92 says, can we see the 70 Pine building? Yeah, let me try to navigate my way there. We'll see. We'll do a lap around here. I'll show you guys 95 Wall Street. Hey, Top G, what's up? Says, yo, Tom, hope you're doing fantastic. Thank you, Top G. I hope you're doing fantastic as well. Hey, the Mighty Bull is here. Mighty Bull, thank you for joining. We will actually be at the Mighty Bull in like 5 minutes. You know, we can't come down to Lower Manhattan, see the New York Stock Exchange, visit Wall Street. This is my old office, by the way. Now, obviously, it doesn't look like an office building because they've completely torn it down and remodeled it into a luxurious hotel. Look at how amazing the interior is here. It's so crazy to see how much things have changed down here since I've worked down here. And that was only like 6 years ago too. I will say this did not look anything like this. I'll tell you that. But they did a good job. I think they did a really, really good job. Hey, Aaron is here. Says hello from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Beautiful city. Would love to visit New York someday. Good to see you, Aaron. Thank you for joining. And I trust you're doing well in Oklahoma. And I hope you come to visit New York City as well. Hopefully you'll get that chance. So this is 95 Wall Street, right? And this is exactly what we've been talking about. Now, obviously, as you could tell, if you look adjacent to the Hyatt Centric, this actually used to be the Andaz Hotel. I just noticed that it's a Hyatt Centric now. It used to be called Andaz. This was an office building, and you'll notice if you go on Zillow or you go on apartments.com and you type in 95 Wall Street, the layouts of the apartments, you could tell that they were once, boxy type cubicles. And I'm not sure what company used to be in there. I want to say Citi, but then again, I think Citi was in this building. But they've converted this one successfully into an apartment building. Here's the thing. It's not affordable. Let's just say that. It's ultra luxurious. I think a studio starts at like $3,000, I think. Right here on the corner of Wall Street and Water Street. Hey, John is here. Good to see you, John. I see Deborah. Welcome. Hey, Dan Zhang. This is Tom. How was your Saturday? It was good, dude. I watched the USA game. Honestly, or unfortunately, we lost. But from watching the game, I mean, the Netherlands just were such a powerful team. They pretty much controlled the tempo of play the entire time. So now I am rooting for Japan and South Korea. Ooh, that was almost... See, don't do illegal U-turns, man. You could get fishtailed. Is that what it's called? Fishtailed? Or did I just make that up? Anyway. But yeah, now I'm going to root for Japan and South Korea because honestly, even though those aren't the best teams in terms of skilled players, those guys, watching them, and I've watched every game of the World Cup, roughly, right? Highlights and things. It seems like they wanted it more than everybody else. Does everybody else get that impression? They may not have been the best players, but I mean, my God. I mean, it's just like they were super aggressive. And I respect that. This is 110 Wall Street. Now, one of my first customers ever was a company called Droga 5. I'm not sure if anybody has ever heard of it. But they were right here. I'm not sure if they're still there. They're an advertising firm. Now, they were either 110 Wall Street or 100. They were somewhere here. But yeah, that was one of my first clients. Right there. Yeah. I know, Michael Joseph says every stream there is a closer near crash miss. I know. Yeah, Fun Feed says our team seemed too young at the time. Well, I think this was the second youngest United States national team, was it not? Somebody says, so Zscaler question, I saw they are pretty much like, with identity, like you said, Microsoft might go after. Does that increase onboarding? Is it a security flaw, mix and match? No, so here's what I think. If you look at what Microsoft has been really, really good at doing, number one, they've been acquiring a lot of cybersecurity companies. Well, so has Alphabet and so has Amazon. But what Microsoft does really well is bundles their products and sort of forces adoption. That's sort of the terminology I use, forced adoption. We're now going to walk to the Mighty Bull, so just give us a minute. And this is exactly what you saw with Microsoft Teams, right? So Microsoft Teams, it's not like a lot of corporations wanted to use it. It's almost like they were forced to adopt it in a way and get used to it because, let me cross the street. Look at how teeny this dog is, oh my God. I've seen rats bigger than that on the live stream. But it's almost like it was forced adoption, right? So Microsoft bundles Teams into their MS365, Microsoft 365, and in higher software tiers, right, the more premium licenses, they're starting to offer cybersecurity products. And if you look on a revenue basis, right, we always talk about Palo Alto Networks, Zscaler, CrowdStrike, right, is sort of my top three that I think will resist the disruption from Microsoft. Because if I'm an organization and I'm using Exchange for my email, if I'm using Teams for my collaboration tools, if I'm using Word, Excel, all that, and I have an account executive from Microsoft call me up and says, hey, if you can upgrade the license, you get security. It's an easier sale than shopping different cloud vendors. But if you think about like a Fortinet or a Palo Alto Networks, it's more of an all-encompass solution instead of like an identity and access management SaaS product from Okta or Ping Identity. So I think the more pure play, I don't think we've ever seen this before. This is pretty cool. It's called the Wall Street Grill. Awesome mural of the Mighty Bull, which we're going to be at in a minute, by the way. I think the closer you are to the infrastructure, the less likely you are to be disrupted. There's a really, really good article, by the way, that I want to share with you all, but I forgot to program it in the Nightbot. So what I'm going to do is I'll either drop it in the community page or I'm going to program it into the Nightbot for tomorrow's stream, the stock market a look ahead stream. Let's cross here. This is Hanover Square. Hey, Edward O, thank you so much for the $1 donation. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now, another thing that I like about Zscaler, which is sort of very rare to see nowadays, I think the founder and CEO owns like 60% of the company. Is that right? I don't know the exact percentage, but it's a lot. He's retained a ridiculous amount of ownership. And the way I sort of conceptualize that as we head towards Stone Street is if a founder, CEO, retains such a high percentage of the organization, you can best believe that they are going to watch that organization like a hawk. They are going to hire the right people. They're going to invest aggressively into research and development. And I think that's why I would prefer, Zscaler over, let's say like a crowd strike or something like that. Hold on, let's just cross here. I want to show you guys Stone Street. This is a very famous place where, you know, a lot of like bar, restaurants, grills, things like that are. Wow, look at down here. This is kind of like a cool, sort of like a speakeasy vibe, right? Hey, Edward Adams, what's up? So just got in, good to see you. Yeah, Mike C says, I enjoy days where Tom walks in different locations like this. I do too. I think you guys, even if you're not from New York, if you ever come here, if you've been watching the stream for over 6 months, I think you know Midtown Manhattan like the back of your hand. But isn't Stone Street unique? What do you guys think? Wow, Edward Adams says, hey, Stone Street, 1984 to 1986. And my home office was 53 Stone Street. Wow. Hey, Bill Rollins is here. Hey, Bill. Happy Saturday. Edward O. Says, hey, Tom, are you familiar with the channel called Walking Commuter? Very. Love the Walking Commuters channel. Now, I always get emails. This is very strange. I get emails maybe like once a month asking if I am the Walking Commuter. Now, I guess I can't prove that I'm not, right? We've never been seen in the same place together, so I guess I'll just have to leave it on a cliffhanger. Yeah, I mean, Stone Street has some of the oldest buildings in New York. I think I like this style a little bit better than the, you know, the ritzy and glitzy massive mega skyscrapers of Billionaires Row. I know, Eduardo says you both sound alike. Maybe he's from Long Island, I don't know, who knows? I watch him in the morning when I got my other monitor on. This is Mad Dog. All right, so since the United States is out of the World Cup, who do we think, predictions here, who do we think is going to win it all? Now, I'm going to give you two predictions. I'm going to give you one prediction who I want to win, but this is who I think is going to win. I think Leo Messi and Argentina is going to win, but I want South Korea or Japan to win, either or. R2K, thank you so much for the $2 donation. I'm not sure where that tavern is. Let me see if I could, I'm assuming it's right here, maybe? We'll look around, but thank you so much for your donation. We'll see if we could find it. Maybe it's at the end of the block. George Hernandez is France or Brazil. I don't want France to win, man. They've already won one. I know, Dan is like, it's going to be really hard for Korea to beat Brazil. But look, Korea has the fight in them, man. I mean, they pulled it off against Portugal, so. Sergei says France. We have a lot of French fans in here, okay. Oh, this is a really nice shot of Stone Street here. Fabio says, yeah, Brazil. I mean, I have a ton of Brazilian viewers here. But you guys have, what, 5 World Cups already? I think it's time to let somebody else win. Yeah, Roberts says the Netherlands might win. I mean, they looked super sharp against the United States. Now, even though the United States was able to score a goal against the Netherlands, it was sort of like a fluke not really a clean goal, but if you look at all 3 goals that the Netherlands scored against the United States, they were all just like super silky smooth and clean in the run of play. I know. I think I want Messi to get a World Cup. I want Messi to win, but we'll see. Brazil already has 5. They have so many. I don't think they need any more. At first, I wanted Cristiano Ronaldo to get a World Cup trophy because he is one of the best soccer players to ever do it. But he just seems lazy at this World Cup. Now, I know he's gone through a lot of injuries and things like that, but I mean, I'm a big fan of people who just work extremely, extremely hard. You may not be the best talented person, but you just work your face off. And that's what I see in the Japanese players, as well as the Koreans. You know, they're not, obviously not the most talented. They're not like Leo Messi. But, I mean, my God, do they never stop. And I respect that. So I think that's why I want those two. Now that the United States is out, that's right. So Fabio says we need Neymar back in the team. What happened to Neymar? He rolled his ankle or something like that? I think he posted a photo online that he rolled his ankle in the previous game. Hey, Laytha's here. Good to see you. Welcome. This is Pearl Street, corner of Pearl Street. Isaac sees his high ankle sprain. So is he projected to be back, or is he done for the entire World Cup? Donna, California says, where is this? So we are in Lower Manhattan today. We just came from the one and only New York Stock Exchange, right on the corner of Wall Street and Broad Street. Now we just walked through Stone Street and we are coming up on Hanover Square. But once we get to Hanover Square, which should be in about 3 minutes, or three seconds, I should say, we're gonna make a right and we are gonna head up to Broadway, where we are going to see the Mighty Bull, or the very famous bull on Wall Street. This is a really nice lobby here. Very modern. All right, so who do we think has the goal of the tournament so far? What would you say is the goal of the tournament so far? I have mine. I think it is, I forget the Brazilian player's name, but that amazing bicycle kick in the group stage. I think he has it on lock completely. Yeah, George Hernandez's Korea has been doing good, but France and Brazil are the most experienced. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm proud American. I wanted the USA to advance, but there's always next time. Yeah, I thought the same thing too. We definitely weren't the best team. I mean, the Netherlands were just so polished. And it seems as if they were so calm. Didn't anybody else get the similar feeling that the Netherlands players, they were just knocking the ball around, super calm, you know, attacking when they wanted. But then again, they're a more experienced team than us. I know Roberts' next World Cup is in North America. We got a couple games in Miami too, so we'll have to go check them out. Yeah, Isaac C says you were thinking of the same goal. That was ridiculous. I say that one. I vote that one. Twitch ASMR says the Netherlands brought their own beer. Hilarious. Dan Zhang says, I feel the U.S. team missed a couple of really solid chances to score. Yeah, I think, Dan, what was it? In the 5th minute, I think we had an open goal. Christian Pulisic, our number 10. I think that was the best chance of the whole game. I think if he scored that, I think we would have won. That would have changed the entire tone of the game. This is Delmonico's very, very famous steakhouse down here. This is 15 William Street. I think somebody was chatting that they wanted to see 15 William, but here it is to your right. But this is Delmonico's. Hey, Kevin Ramsey, thank you so much for your very kind $20 donations. This is big time game. Rep the Cincinnati Bengals this weekend. Kevin Ramsey, thank you so much for your donation. I got a story for you about the Cincinnati Bengals. You ready for it? All right, because here it is. So there used to be, I was never a big football player, right? Obviously, if you could see me, I'm tall and lanky. I'm not, I would get crushed. I'd get snapped in half. That's why I was a soccer player. Very fast, had the sort of build for it. But there was a player who amazed me on the Cincinnati Bengals. Also because he really, really loves soccer as well. He actually played, well, he had a camp with Sporting Kansas City. He didn't make the team, obviously. But Chad Johnson, or Chad Ochocinco, I think he was a wide receiver, was he not? Something like that. I don't know the positions in football, so if he wasn't, just correct me in the chat. But he made the game of football fun to watch. Super, super fast, very quick. And my dog, who's a beagle, when I got him, he was so fast he would stop on a dime. I was like, wow, this dog stops on a dime exactly like Chad Ochocinco. And that is how my beagle came to be named Ochocinco. So there's a little Cincinnati Bengal story for you. You'll notice all the barricades here. Obviously, after 9/11, they closed down Broad Street to any cars. You see all the vehicles here. It's either if you live in one of these buildings, something like that. But yeah, you're not allowed to drive in front of the New York Stock Exchange. You can see a little bit of the tree here. I know Chad says he's a great follow on Twitter. He really is. He really, really is. Dr. Longus says that's awesome, isn't it? All right, onward here, everybody. GGMYC, welcome. Happy Saturday. Wow, Kim Grant says my cousin was drafted by the Bengals. That's fantastic. Zozo Bob says Ochocinco had his own reality TV show. Did he really? I didn't know that. He had his own reality TV show? Or are you talking about, does anybody remember? Okay, this is what I remember. It's all coming back to me now. He used to have like a sports talk show with Terrell Owens. Anybody remember that? I think it was called the T. Ocho Show. I think it was on for like 3 episodes and then it got canned. Is that the one you're talking about? I think it was called the T. Ocho Show or something like that. I don't know, but he really made football fun to watch. I mean, I never watch it anymore, but wow, Dan says, Tom, you could actually drive into the exchange. My friend's apartment is right next to the NYSC, but your car is going to get sniffed by the bomb-sniffing dog police. Oh, is that right? So you could drive through. Do they check your ID to see if you live there, or you could just go there anyway? I didn't know that. You know, Dan, a lot of those apartments are really nice too. They're expensive. I think a studio is like what? Maybe the cheapest studio is $2,500, $2,700 bucks, $3,000, something like that. Sam Regano says, I remember that show. Yeah, it seems like it was only on for like 5 episodes, maybe. Jonathan, good to see you. Fun Feed says, what do you think of Dave Ramsey? I think Dave is a good guy. I think, you know, the basic stuff he preaches is correct. But I'm a believer you need to take some risk in life, man. Especially when you're young. You got to go for it. Especially when you're young, you really, really got to put the full court press on. But if you follow what Dave Ramsey says to a T, you will always live a comfortable and just normal life, right? You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. But you're not really ever gonna take a big risk, right? And I think at least once in your life, you really got to put the full court press on and try to do something big. Just because you only got one shot at it, man. You know, in 40 years, or maybe 50 years, most of us who are watching this live stream, including myself, are probably not even going to be around. We're probably not even going to be on this earth. We're going to be buried 6 feet under. So we might as well just freaking give it the full court press while we're here. That's what I say. Okay, so here we are. Fun fact, it's very, very windy. I'm not sure if the mic is picking up a lot of the wind noise. Man, it is so windy. If you look right here, this is actually where the Fearless Girl used to be. So the Fearless Girl statue. But as you notice, there's like a fork in the road here. So the cars would be backed up all the way up Broadway. Because there were so many tourists that wanted to see the Fearless Girl. So they moved her outside in front of the New York Stock Exchange. And now the Mighty Bull sits here alone. But the Mighty Bull looks pretty good. What do you guys think? I think it looks nice. Hey, Mr. W is here. Says, hey, Tom and everybody. What's up, Mr. W? Thanks for being here. James Tiger, good to see you. Rod Johnson says, one of my friends took a risk and lost over $1 million in STX. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, what I mean risk, not like, I'm talking about a calculated risk, right? Not, you know, dump all my money in one stock. That's not a risk. That is just foolish. What I'm talking about is, you know, either, you know, taking a calculated risk, starting your own business. You know, if you listen, and Dave Ramsey is a fantastic person to listen to. I think his core principles are fantastic. It is very basic stuff, but and he says it, right? If you want to just be comfortable, have basic financial literacy, follow him to a T. But if you really want to, you know, try to be creative and do something, I think you got to try to do something else. Hey, the Mighty Bull, thank you so much for your $3 donation. Thank you. AB, thank you so much for your $3 donation. Much appreciated. I think the Mighty Bull's looking good today. I think it's like a 10 out of 10. The Mighty Bull is a beacon of hope. You know what I mean? Yeah, Michael Joseph, it kind of does, right? The bull looks like it's smiling a little bit. I never noticed that. But I think you're right. Hey, James Tiger. Says my risk is 500K plus invested in my company stock. Private company, not in the market. May sell for several billion. James, God bless you, sir, and I hope that plays out. So many blessings to you, my friend. And congratulations on your success. AB, thank you so much for another $3 donation. Says, hi, Tom. Say hi to my wife, Kristen, if you will. Kristen, good to see you. Thank you for watching Walks on Wall Street, and I hope you have a fantastic Saturday night. Yeah, OI, the Miami Bull is robotic. That is true. The bull is hollow. Joseph Hardaway. I actually used to go to this Planet Fitness every day after work. Right here outside the Mighty Bull. Yeah, Ali's Star. So if you want to know exactly where we are, here's the another shot of the Cipriani. But it's right outside of the New York Film Academy, the Mighty Bull. All right, guys, I think we are gonna head back. All right, one more close-up of the Mighty Bull, and then we're gonna head back. Yeah, Dan, you're right. Planet Fitness stock did perform really well since COVID. Ticker symbol PLNT, Planet Fitness. Now, I think it's trading near 52-week highs, isn't it? Now, here's why. Wow, that wind is brutal. I think we actually may have to go this way because we're going to walk right into a wind tunnel. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and hit the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams about 5 days a week between New York City and Miami. We'd love to have you guys here. Now, tomorrow is Sunday, so that means it is going to be our Markets a Look Ahead stream, where we will be talking about the individual events that will be happening in the upcoming week on Wall Street, from corporate earnings, from major economic activity events. Now, last week was really, really busy, and we pretty much covered it in depth, right? We had the first business day of the month, which means the Institute for Supply Management released its PMIs, or the Purchasing Managers Index, came in with a reading of 49. Right? So we've fallen into contraction in the manufacturing sector of the U.S. economy. This is Bowling Green. I think this may be the Native American Museum, right? I forget the exact name of it, but it's a museum nonetheless. But next week is going to be an eventful week as well. So stay tuned for that. Michael Joseph says, are you allowed to climb up on the bull like that? I don't know. I've never tried it. I don't want to do it though. I think it's bad luck. Rod Johnson says, I hate to tell everybody, but we are already in a recession. And it's going to get a lot worse, says Rod Johnson. Yeah, well, I mean, we did have 2 consecutive quarters of GDP contraction, right? Which is the technical definition of a recession. Hey, John Martin says, what did you just point with? I'm holding an umbrella because earlier today it was raining like crazy, but thank God it stopped. James Tiger, copy that. So let's go back to the New York Stock Exchange and see the tree at the stock exchange one more time. We are on Beaver Street. We're going to make a left on Broad. Now we also got the non-farm payrolls, right? Which came in very, very strong, beating economists' expectations. And did you guys notice the unemployment rate unchanged at 3.7%? Now, I think the thing that was most notable, actually, wow, the tree looks really unique from here. I think the thing that was most notable was the change in the labor force participation rate. The dark horse is Tom. Larry Kudlow is spot on in regards to the truth of the recession. I know Mr. Bagman says wage growth was a smoker, though. So, Mr. Bagman, wage growth was rip your face off. You're correct. Ooh, let me check my battery. You're correct. And the reason why it's so interesting and important to pay attention to that is because on Monday, or last Monday, Federal Reserve President, or New York Fed President John Williams, he was speaking at the Economic Club in New York, and he said exactly what Mr. Bagman said. He's like, look, is it true that we are seeing progress in declines in inflation? And yeah, we are. However, we're seeing material improvement in commodities prices coming down. But what is causing inflation to be very, very sticky is wage growth, as well as increased costs of labor. And we've been talking about this on the stream because skilled labor, specifically in the United States, there is a shortage of it, right? And now this may be a little bit anecdotal, but think about all of the big name jobs that are in high demand right now, but are in short supply. I think we have a crisis, or we're about to go into a crisis, as it relates to pilots. There's a shortage of pilots. We're having pilots retire at the fastest pace in history, not enough to replace, right? So that obviously basic concepts of supply and demand here. Workers, if they're overworked, they're going to demand more pay. And I think that's why we need to keep our eye on the labor force participation rate as well, which we'll talk about Sunday. Really nice Tesla here. But that's the thing, right? So to your point, John Williams, he's like, those are the parts of inflation that are really, really sticky. And his targets, not mine, his, he said, look, you were not going to expect a material pivot or a cut in interest rates until the unemployment rate, our target, is roughly 5%, right? And the unemployment rate with the non-farm payrolls came in unchanged at 3.7. So there's a long way to go. I mean, we could, even though on December 13th to the 14th is the next FOMC meeting. Yes, we're probably going to get a 50 basis point rate hike. If you look at futures markets, they're pricing in about an 85% probability of that, which obviously is about 25 basis points lower or less than the 75 basis point rate hike we got the previous FOMC meeting, 4 consecutive 75 basis points. But I think the duration is going to be longer. We may have the Fed funds rate near 5% all the way until 2024, right? That's going to be a major, major problem. Wow, check out the view of the Christmas tree here. You see the New York Stock Exchange to the left. I'm gonna try to get you guys close under here. It smells really good, by the way. Steve CR. This is my presence there yet? Yes. The answer is yes. You just gotta come get him here, Steve. I'm waiting for you here, man. Hey, Dusty Cole, good to see you. Welcome, Dusty. And here's the Fearless Girl. One of my favorite things about Wall Street here. Now, they obviously moved her here because she was backing up traffic. She was so popular. Hey, Derek Hammond, welcome. Dante Kamen. What's up, Dante? Good to see you. Hopefully you're enjoying the stream tonight. Wow, I think this is a better shot. I like how they have the multicolor. So I usually don't like multicolor lights, but I think this is an exception. It's not too overpowering, and I like how the lights twinkle here. Matthew M says, how long ago was she moved there? I think over a year now. I think well over a year. All right, I gotta put you guys down. Let me put you guys down here so at least you have a good view of the Fearless Girl and the tree, because I gotta plug in the, what do you call it? The external battery, or else you guys are gonna be stranded in Lower Manhattan. I don't want that. I want to get you guys home.
Oh wait, who's honey taking a picture?
Okay, I think we're good. So we'll head back uptown now. And here we have our old pal, George Washington. Now I am going to take you guys with me back to the Moynihan train station. I think we're going to ruck it back. But I'll try to give you a shot of the tree and the stock exchange in one. I think this is a good shot the way it's centered like this. Hey, Lily is here. Says hello from Columbia. Welcome. Good to see you, Lily. Zozo Bob's. The tree looks amazing. If you look all the way in front, you'll see Trinity Church. But I'll take you guys down this way as we make our push back up to Moynihan train station, 34th Street. Ooh, this is a good shot too. We haven't gotten this one yet. Ooh, I think this one may be my favorite because the scaffolding is now down at the New York Stock Exchange. All right, everybody, I got to do it. I got to do it. I know, Dan saying this looks better than the Rockefeller Center one. I agree. Now, we're transitioning now from the beautiful New York Stock Exchange, the beautiful tree, to, get ready for it, all right? Yikes. The Federal Reserve. Whoa. So we've been talking about the Federal Reserve a lot because the Federal Reserve sets the benchmark Fed funds rate and manipulates the supply of money. This is the Capitol Grill. Now, obviously, we've been talking about monetary policy, and there's two main types of monetary policy, right? We mainly talk about conventional monetary policy, but there's also unconventional monetary policy as well, which would include asset purchases and things like that, right? Fed bailouts. But right in front of us is the Federal Reserve. And fun fact, you know, I think in order to give the fun fact, I got to cross the street. Please stand by. So this was a long, long time ago. Way back when I would skateboard around the city. This wall never used to be here, by the way. So this is brand new. Has anybody ever seen the movie Money Monster with George Clooney, I believe? Well, if you have, one of the most famous scenes in that movie was filmed right here. And I was actually watching that be filmed. And maybe if you guys have seen it, I'm not sure if it's a famous movie or not, but I mean, anything with George Clooney in it, I think is pretty famous. But you'll notice the scene is the same. Right here, he has that vest on. I think it was like a bomb strapped to his vest or something like that. And they filmed it right here outside the Federal Reserve, Liberty Street, Nassau Street. Right here, right in this corner. That's the story. Hope you enjoyed it. This is the Federal Reserve, the big bad Fed. We will be hearing from Fed Chair Jerome Powell on December 14th at the conclusion of the FOMC meeting. Now, as you guys know, next week is going to be a pretty big week on the stream. Because if you think about what we've been talking about, here we have it. Landmarks in New York. Federal Reserve Bank in New York. As we've been talking about, the bond market from a standpoint of the government or sovereign debt markets, we've covered pretty at length yield curve analysis and how we could use the yield curve as a potential leading indicator to corporate earnings growth or corporate earnings recession, and then to GDP growth or GDP contraction, and then hopefully, really nice tree here at 83 Maiden Lane. Hopefully tie that into the direction of the S&P 500 and major equity indices. Now we're evolving, okay? We are graduating, and we are going to phase 2 of the bond market next week, when we will be covering corporate debt, the corporate bond market, and how we could use corporate bonds as a potential leading indicator. Man, look at all this scaffolding. Everything has scaffolding here. As a potential leading indicator for corporate earnings. Now, we've done a quick review or a preface to this, talking about how corporate debt is graded by the major rating agencies such as Fitch Ratings, Moody's, and S&P. We've covered in depth the 2 types of corporate debt, such as investment grade and non-investment grade, starting with the AAAs all the way down to CCC. Now, investment grade debt also goes down to high yield investment grade debt, which is not quite junk, but it's getting there. It's close. And we can interpret the yields on these bonds as leading indicators for the health of the corporation, right? So I'm going to be talking about 3 specific bond benchmarks or bond indices. Let me cross the street. Bond benchmarks or bond indices that we could look at, starting with the Barclays Corporate Bond Indice, the AAA, going down to the high yield bonds, which would be like a BB, and then the junk bonds, you could track that at ticker symbol JNK. And the way corporate bonds are priced is via a spread over the benchmark 10-year US Treasury yield, right? And this is why it's very important to always pay attention to corporate bond spreads. And you'll notice when spreads blow out, oh, this is another really, really good view. Hold on, check this out. You guys are gonna like this. This is Fulton Street. This is a very famous style shot here. I'm sure you guys have seen this shot a million times, but the One World Trade Center aligns perfectly with Fulton Street. Looks really, really nice. Now we can use the spreads of these corporate bonds as leading indicators. So you'll notice as we go through the streams next week, and we're going to be writing about it in the Behind the Street newsletter, AAA rated bonds tend to have a very narrow spread over the 10-year US Treasury yield because their credit worthiness is very good, right? These are companies that you're probably going to get paid back, right? Bondholders are most probably going to get paid back. But as you go lower on the ladder and credit worthiness diminishes and you go all the way down to the CCC or the junk, you'll notice the spreads are very, very big over the 10-year because investors are commanding higher yield for the risk of not being paid back, right? The default risk is extremely, extremely high. So it's going to be a busy week next week on the stream, but I think you guys are going to get a lot out of it. And I think it's going to be an interesting discussion because as we talk through some of the specific companies, instead of looking at, the stock price and the stock chart of where it's at, we'll actually do a deep dive into its corporate bonds and look at its debt and how it is doing. All right, coming up on your right, is going to be Spruce Street. And there's a very famous college, very good college too. It's called Pace University, P-A-C-E University. It's also a very good business school as well as a good criminal justice school too. However, it is expensive, very, very expensive. You know what, while we're here, because the building that we showcased at the beginning of the live stream is literally right here, the Spruce Street building. Hey, FredX is here. What's up, FredX? All right, so here's one of the most unique buildings, apartment buildings, that is. Check it out. Hey, Wendy England, good to see you. And I think, again, this is Questlove's building. And Questlove is probably one of the greatest drummers of at least my lifetime. I think that's fair to say. He is part of the legendary Roots Group, which is now the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon band, or the official band there. 8 Spruce Street. All right, you know what we'll do since it's getting late? I totally lost track of time. We've already been streaming for 2 hours. We'll conclude the stream here. But if you guys enjoy the sort of topics we talk about each night on the live stream, feel free to scan the QR code on your screen and punch in your email, because we do write a free investing newsletter where we talk about not only the US equity market, emerging markets, fixed income, housing, and the like. Also, we'll do a deep dive in the bond market, so you're not going to want to miss that. So please scan, punch in the email. We are going to be getting on a regular schedule for sending that out very soon, within the next week. And I think it was a fun stream. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the stock market, a look ahead live stream. And we'll end it with a nice look of City Hall and the Brooklyn Bridge. So thanks everybody for coming out. I appreciate it. So Grant Mail, thank you so much. Michael Joseph. Philly, thank you so much, Philly. Mr. Wonderful, Tommy C. Abdullah, Kim Grant, Jay Alberts, Michael Joseph, Dr. Long is Mr. W, Austin City Limits, Western Mass Dave, NMB 045, The Dark Horse, Dusty Cole, Edward O, Joe Driver. And to the Mighty Bull, have a good night wherever you are, because there is always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. Hit the subscribe button if you guys are new. Thank you for coming out. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream tonight. And we'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy your weekend. Bye for now.